Hi everybody, I am Sarah and the host of this channel. I do all things healing, individualism, and some other really cool stuff. I research a lot of healing tools that really worked for me when I was going through a few things, and I thought, why not share them? And today I wanted to really dive into the ego and how the ego's play can keep us in a cycle that keeps repeating and playing into identities that no longer serve us, as well as kind of protecting something we never even wanted to protect in the first place. If you really sat down and thought to yourself, why do I keep chasing the job that I don't even like? Why do I keep going to this person that makes me feel so awful? The ego might just be the answer. And I'm not saying this as like, we could do better. But, some people are okay with going back, but who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for your heart? Or are you doing it for this identity that you're so hardly grasping onto? When I did my LSD journey the other day, I kept finding myself in this loop of just continuously playing along to these ideas of myself and how people might perceive me. And I got to see it from an outside viewpoint, and I was like, wow. Like I'm really playing into not just my own ego's identities, but also into other people's ideals of me, and how tough is it to step out of that? Surprisingly, when there's an external force involved, like the Tower card, as you can see right at the top, there's a lightning bolt, and this represents, like, where did it come from exactly? From the above. You can see this in a metaphorical way, as in like the heart couldn't take it anymore from the ego and decided to just shut down. By shut down, I don't mean like your body shutting down, but like, have you ever got yourself in a situation where you just couldn't no longer move in that circumstance? So when I had my awakening last year, and there was a job that I was working at, and before it was fine, but I had my little awakening, and the Tower moment kind of I just couldn't no longer be at that job. So it's unseen energy, which I'm going to call source, but you can say other things. You can perceive it as maybe your heart just opening up and no longer trying to chase these ego identities. So you have your Tower moment, which is induced by the heart slash external forces like source, and you have these two people coming out of it. This is supposed to represent the man and the woman, the masculine, the feminine. This could also represent friendships. I had a loss of friendships, and a lot of it was because my ego was the reason why we were friends with these people. The masculine and the feminine, we all have an equal balance. There's no such thing as I am just feminine and I am just masculine. It's a balance, and the most attractive people you will find are usually balanced energy. So yeah, like this could mean a lot of relationships being completely destructed. Last year when I went through mine, I had falling outs with almost everybody. I had to re-identify exactly who I was at the core. Because of the ego's big play, I didn't know exactly who I was anymore. So the Tower moment really like completely destructs everything. Everything falls into the water. As you can see in the card, there's water at the bottom. On the illustration, just the blue part, that I would like to say the water represents the flow of life, the natural rhythm, the natural juices, breath of life. And yeah, it looks like they're falling apart and they're going to land and die, right? But they're going to go into the waters, which is ready to swiftly catch them. And to me, this symbolizes no matter how terrible life gets, even if you die, which God forbid, I don't want anybody to die, you still live, you still continue, you are so protected half of the time. You will not die unless your will said so, unless you're contracted to die. You will not die. As bad as things get, your light does not ever have to burn out. So that's what the water really symbolizes. But to get to the point with the Tower, when people pull this card in a Tower deck, people do get a bit scared because half the time you don't really see a Tower moment coming, but you can predict it if you are connected to your heart chakra. If majority of ego's destruction comes when it is faced with the heart chakra. The ego and the heart are two completely different worlds. The heart is very much about the inner solar system. If you do any plant medicine or psychedelics of any sort that alters your mind state, you will realize how disconnected you are from the world. Hence why people are so... I understand why people are so scared of people taking, like plant medicines and psychedelics, because it is hard to come back down if you have no root. As in, after the session's over, you literally could have a psychosis. You might go crazy. So I understand why people are scared, but if you do have a good root connection, you have a good idea of who you are. That's why I wouldn't recommend any plant medicine before you actually have some sort of awareness of who you are. Like, even if you won't know exactly who you are, you trying is a good thing. Don't do plant medicine recreationally. Don't do it at a party, because you could definitely lose it the next day. It's just not... It's not how you start. Please, please, please. Plant medicine should not be done. To be honest, every plant medicine needs to be done alone, because it's all about the inner world. Don't be wasting all that energy outwards. Back to what I was saying. When you do any sort of mind-altering plant medicine stuff, you will ultimately be connected to the heart, which means you no longer care what job you're about to land next year, what house. Have you ever tried to ask any sort of question on plant medicine? It's just like, you don't care. It's like, yeah, it doesn't really matter who you marry, really. It really doesn't, as long as you're happy. And in that moment, you are happy because you're so connected to your inner solar system, right? Your inner solar system only wants you to be connected to your true self, which is love and light. So, on the contrast, when you're in the ego state, when you're completely worried about how you're going to become successful. What does success even mean? And if it's definitely like material stuff, know that the ego is at play. How much of the relationships that you have with people are based on ego? Are you operating in a love state? Are you, when things get a bit upsetting, are you straight away going to move to a defensive mode and attack people? Or are you going to see where the love is in the situation? And depending on what state you're operating at, from a love chakra, love vibration, light, acceptance, courage, and enlightenment, which is just a state of full-on bliss. Or are you operating from fear, from defensiveness, from what can I get on this world? What can I do? How can I put myself at the top? How can I get this recognition from material things? And that's what the Tower moment is all about. It's just realizing like where you might be going if you continue to go down that road without the Tower moment, without the ego death. By ego death, honestly, it's just being able to realize who you are without the culture, without the body, without the skin color, without the hair, without the books that you read, without the music that you listen to. If I put you in a different planet, will you still be who you are right now? If you're in a different bodysuit, will you still be who you are right now? Or will you change? If you will change, that could be a great indicator that you're operating in an ego-based reality. I'm not saying people's perspectives on this planet are false at all. This earth has, had diseases on it, and it is sick to a certain point, and at some point you will also have a bit of sickness. So nobody's perfect, but it's just really try and identify when you're operating in ego-based. And if it's not within love, if you don't feel yourself coming from a heart center place, then you're probably operating in ego, which is detrimental, because the ego will have you going in cycles and cycles and cycles, just repeating different things in different circumstances. I wish that made sense. I hope that made sense. But one thing I really, really thought helped me was getting in a state of meditation, but not in a boring way. You don't have to sit down and sing yourself to the sky. You can just dance, like try and flow with your body and just get into the rhythm of life. Sometimes just moving your body, if you can't get your breath right, just try and move your body really slow. Sometimes we think you have to go faster to feel, but no, just go slower. If you go slower, you'll feel more half the time. So, yeah, get into that rhythm. Go really slow. Get your favorite music on, and hopefully no words. I'm a piano for this reason. No words, because words influence the ego. Your ego will be quick to jump on that word and what it thinks about that word, the beliefs that it has towards that word, etc., etc. So no words. And if you just go slow and just feel the beat, then you can enter a flow state. Very hard, by the way, because I tried this morning and it took me a while. But if you struggle to meditate, try dancing to songs without lyrics, or songs that you don't understand the lyrics to. So when you listen to an Arabic song, if you don't know Arabic, by the way, you don't know the words, so you can just bop to the music. And that could get you to an ascension sort of state of bliss. So, and then from there, you can make decisions about your life. From there, you can operate from a heart center approach. From there, you can let go of the ego. By the way, identify the ego is just here. You can't really get rid of the ego. It's here to protect. Unfortunately, it's just always in defense mode. So we shouldn't let the ego decide, but the ego should be still respected in a sense that's know what its purpose is to protect. Also, one really interesting thing that the ego does is also not allow you to forgive people. So if you're trying to get into a heart space but you're really, really struggling, you might need to do some forgiveness for yourself, for others, and other things as well. I'm not going to let this video get too long. I've really enjoyed talking about this because I've really been going through a tower moment. Oh my god. But I'm grateful because once you understand a tower moment, once you go through a tower moment and actually comprehend what is happening, the ego versus the heart, but the heart's won. If you get to a tower moment, the heart has already won. And it always will win. It's just the cycle doesn't stop. Don't let your ego run the show, because the ego will only get you into more problems. You might get the abundance of material wealth, and then what? You might get the abundance of all the relationships you could have got, but you're not going to have your heart fulfilled. You're not going to have that hole filled up if you don't start operating from a heart-based center today. Forgive yourself and others. And yeah, I can't wait to move on to the rest of the tarot cards. I love you. I have to go now, and I will see you next week. Subscribe and like the video, by the way, if you want more. I'll be making more anyway. I'll be here every Friday. I took a break, but I'm back now. Bye. Bye. I'll see you guys next week. Mwah.